again, we're all right here in chapter 1, and we're moving quick. I think we see the word immediately almost a dozen times in just this first chapter. John's taking us in quick. But remember, we're talking about the gospel of the kingdom. We're talking about following Jesus. Mark's presentation, Mark's portrait of Jesus is he's a man of action. He does some teaching. We're going to see a lot more teaching in Matthew. But Mark is really focused on the kingdom being demonstrated. Jesus is moving, his ministry is moving, and the kingdom itself, the king is demonstrating what the kingdom is all about. And so we have a whole bunch of stories here. We're going to finish up chapter 1. I think that's going to take us into a little bit of chapter 3 as we look at this whole section of Jesus moving right along. He's in the synagogues, he's in homes, he's on the street, he's healing, he's casting out demons. And this is kind of how Mark wants us to see Jesus teaching. It's in the doing, it's in the acts. And so it also lends itself to this speed. This section that we're reading here, and again, this is our first of the bigger sections. We're taking part of 2 chapters and a whole of chapter 2. I believe that this section begins and ends with a couple Sabbath stories. Jesus goes into the synagogue and he heals a man who has a demon, an unclean spirit. The last Sabbath story is a picture of Jesus healing the man with the withered hand, I believe. And these Sabbath stories themselves are illustrated. It gives us a beautiful picture as a Sabbath celebrating church of what Sabbath is all about. Christ-centered Sabbath is about restoration. It's about healing. It's about recovery. And we see Jesus moving in this, but also notice not just what Jesus is doing, notice Jesus' action, but also notice the reaction that's happening. Throughout Mark, we're going to see action and reaction. Mark is trying to show us Jesus is revealing himself as the Christ, the Son of God. How are people reacting to this? I believe it's in this section, chapter 2, kind of a middle story, that we have the wonderful story of the friends that bring the paralytic to Jesus, and they break through the roof and they come down. And here again, we see that who is this Lord of the Sabbath? Who is this man who is doing these things? And here he not only heals this man, but he forgives his sin, which raises the question of, how can this man do that? Only God can forgive sins, and that's true. But here, the Son of God can forgive sins, because not only can he heal, rise up and walk, but he can say your sins are forgiven you. And so this is already building tension, and you can see from the first reaction on the Sabbath to the second Sabbath story, as we go into chapter 3, we see Jesus healing that man, but already the Pharisees, the scribes, they're watching to see how they can catch him, how they can condemn him. They're already thinking, we've got to put an end to this man. So just in these few chapters, we see Mark moving very quickly. But overall, what Mark is wanting to show us is who Jesus is as the Son of God, who Jesus is as the Messiah, what it means to be part of his kingdom, the revelation of this kingdom, and how people are reacting to that. Who is seeing and understanding? What can we say about those friends that in faith bring their friend to Jesus? And that power of the Son of God in that moment to not only heal, but to forgive. It gives us a beautiful picture of Jesus as the Son of God.